My name is Melanie Bennett Fitzgibbon. This is my graphic organizer project for Dr. Jeff Longing in the MAT class of Introduction to Instructional Technology. The major research presentation project topic that was awarded to me is Virtual Museums, Virtual Field Trips. I chose a yellow banner because when I think of field trips, I think happy and smiley faces. In my first level, I have chosen to start with the simple questions of who, what, where, when, and why. Who would go to these field trips? I chose green because when I think of go, I think green. What do you mean, virtual? I selected light blue for this shape because when I think virtual, light blue comes to mind. Where and when can you go on these virtual field trips? I selected green here because, again, I'm speaking about go. Why virtual field trips versus real, everybody get on the big yellow bus field trips? I chose light blue here because, again, we are talking about virtual. In the second level, I want to put an answer to my who, what, where, when, and why questions. Who is going? Anyone at school that has access to the internet. I went with dark purple here because the red and blue shapes under this answer combined makes purple. What is virtual? I would provide a definition of virtual. I chose dark gray to represent the definition. Where and when can you go on a particular virtual field trip? I chose light purple with this where oval because I am tying each of the go questions with an answer in a shade of purple. When? Anytime. No scheduling conflicts here. I chose white because when I consider when, I think of a calendar or the face of a clock. Why would you choose reality over virtual? Again, virtual, light blue, and reality was paired with a shade darker than white because I am tying real time with when. The third level, I go into a little more detail than the previous level. Who is the anyone at school that will have access to the internet? Teachers. I chose red for this square because when I think of teachers, I think of a red apple. And students. I went with royal blue because it complements red. The red and blue combined together give you the purple circle above the two squares. Where would you go on these field trips? Yellow smiley faces pop to mind again. A type of virtual field trip is a virtual museum. I use crimson red in this rectangle because when I think of museums, I think of the dark red velvet do not pass ropes that keep you from getting any closer or going into a section that may be closed for some reason. Some other types of virtual field trips that interest me is zoos. I chose a lighter gray because I think of elephants and concrete walkways when I think of zoos. Aquariums. My very first thoughts are water and dolphins, so aqua is the rectangle's color. And NASA. I chose black here because when I think of NASA, I think nighttime stars and constellations. Under virtual museums, you will see Smithsonian in a dark purple oval. I chose this color because the Smithsonian is a very prestigious museum and it makes me think purple. All of the examples I chose for virtual field trip can all be connected to what my bachelor degree is in, natural science. When considering the positives and negatives for virtual versus reality, the first positive to think about would be the ease of scheduling a virtual field trip compared to the conflicts you would encounter with a real field trip. Second, the amount of money you would have to consider for virtual would definitely be lower in cost than a real one. And third, teachers would not have to worry about help on a virtual field trip. The reason I chose red and green is because I think of these two colors when I think negative and positive. Finally, I would provide information concerning how technology can be used to meet Common Core state standards for teachers and students. When I think of CCSS, what stands out is core, so that makes me think of the core of the earth, which I would imagine to look like lava, orange. That concludes my graphic organizer project on virtual museums, virtual field trips.